Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning in.
Listing ship.
I told Gary that the other day he had a camera shot on me. It looked like I was on a ship that was listing to the right. It's doing that now, too. I'm sitting straight up, and it looks like I'm leaning to the right, man.
You're tilted.
I'm not tilted. These boys. There, you see? Come on, man.
Like that?
You guys are supposed to be technologically competent. I'm supposed to be stupid about this stuff. And I'm the guy that when you ask, do you have this wire, Doc? Do you have that wire? And I got it in my bag, and you don't.
Your collection of bags, too.
I got more bags than I got sense, right?
You do.
It's like maybe in my previous life I was a Sherpa guide or something. I took everybody's bag. Oh, welcome to the show. I'm still crooked. It still looks like yeah. See, I'm just saying. I don't know. We do stream the show, so it's TV of a sort. It is TV. And
it is.
It is, no doubt.
You can actually go on Roku right now if you have a Roku and go to YouTube and catch us live off of Roku.
Huh. Unbelievable. Wow. Radio. It's changed.
Yeah.
A lot.
So we're actually on the Roku platform with the YouTube.
But what we're learning is that people make the initial contact with the show through terrestrial radio and stick with the terrestrial radio.
I get that all the time. I got a lot of people now that'll listen to the show and then through the radio, okay, and then go to that radio's website and listen to the rest of the show. Yeah.
Pick up the show there.
Yeah.
Many of the radio stations, of course, have their own website now, and they have things archived, previous shows, a show that's running. I suspect that we are coast to coast right now. There are radio stations that air the show. If you go to their website, you can listen to it there as well.
Yeah. It's the technology that has advanced in the past 5 years, just in the past 5 years, is amazing.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes.
We have the iHeart Media app. If you go to iHeart Media, we're on that. We're on iTunes. I post those every day. They're not live, but they are posted after the show, so you can archive that way. You can go to.
Somebody asked me. They went to Facebook.
Yes.
And they saw the show. It's up there, a video.
Yes.
And they wanted to know why there wasn't a title. It was my friend Jeff.
Okay.
I'm just asking.
Because it's supposed to be, has to be posted live, because that is a live feed.
Is that what I need to tell them?
Yeah, that's why we put the date up there, so they have to go by date.
I see.
So our YouTube now is all titled.
I know it
titled
is.
and thumbnailed.
Okay.
So, and playlisted.
Yeah, he lives in a neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
He was catching the show. He said he was home from work, and he said, I was going through my Facebook page, and I saw one of your videos there, and he said, and I knew it was you. I recognized you, and he said, I wondered what the show was about. And I said, well, you have to listen to it. You have to click on it. He said, I was looking for a title. I said, well, if you go to Facebook, it's titled. And I didn't know the rest of that answer is that when we're live, you can't put a title on it.
No, we had problems.
Will that change?
Before.
Will that change? Can we put a title up there after?
No.
You can't.
No. You can edit it, and then it'll take like a day and a half for it to catch up. But then you might have the possibility of losing it, so I try not to do that.
Okay. All right, we're trying to figure this stuff out as we go along. So this is all by way of trying to connect. Communication is about connection. It is connection. Connecting to the other. And we are, doing our best to make that happen.
I have a question from the gym this morning because one of the girls walked up and says, "Hey," she goes, "I have this question." She pulled a muscle.
Okay.
What supplements to take for a pulled muscle? And I thought, well, that's a good question.
Well, her muscle is pulled. First of all,
and what is a pulled muscle? Because I want to know.
Okay, we'll get into that. I'll deal with that. I don't know about supplements for that. I do know about therapy for that. Which muscle was it? Was it a leg muscle?
Bicep, almost like what Nate did.
Ooh,
remember big? Did you see Big Nate's arm?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, bicep. All right. When we come back from break, I'll address it. There are. It's just amazing when you get into a project, and you start to see things that you didn't see before, and things come along that are related to the project, and it normally wouldn't even show up. I'm working on this project, taking a look, revisiting the concept of aging and writing a series on it. And the things that are rolling around in my head, I'm trying to look at food and aging, lifestyle and aging. What do we know? What does the science tell us? Is aging a disease? Can aging be slowed down? Can it be sped up? Can it be, how do we define it? I mean, the list of questions are endless. Nobody escapes. When does it begin? Which would be part of the definition. Is aging, is there such a thing as anti-aging, or is it as Leonard Hayflick says, no, man, that's not right. That's an oxymoron. There's no such thing. He firmly believes that, and he has for years. He's held on to that. People like Robin Halliday and myself included do not necessarily, I do think we can intervene in the process. I'm having a hard time putting my mind around the idea that it's a disease. There are age-related diseases. There's no one listening to this show or watching it, or that will listen or watch it, that will escape that. Not one person. Age-related diseases are reality. But does that make aging a disease process in and of itself? And that's an important question, because depending on how you answer that question will depend on how you approach the whole concept. In terms of treatment, if it's a disease, then it needs to be treated. Nature has a different nature. You know, I'm a little worn out with this notion that nature is so benevolent. Nature is cold, man. It's nature is like statistics. it's like it's not benevolent. It is elegant in its design, no doubt about it, and it can be beautiful, and it can be breathtaking. Take a drive down the Pacific Coast Highway for a moment. I've done that a couple of times, and if you're an atheist when you start off at the top, in Northern California, by the time you reach Monterey, you'll get out of the car and get down on your knees and start praying. It'll switch you from an atheist into a believer. That ride is awe-inspiring. You get my point. But is it all that kind and benevolent? I don't think so. I don't think so. It does make mistakes. It's not perfect. And the aging process is nature's way of keeping the species alive. There's a study that's trending this morning, a couple of them, both related to aging. I'll probably get into one or both. We have a brand new guest today, and I'm going to tell you, this person is so accomplished.
At Country Life Vitamins, we've been helping people live Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
Yeah, we are back from the break. I have a new guest that will be showing up here. My goodness, she is really accomplished. Kathleen Brock. She's with Lily of the Fields. No, man, Lily of the Desert. I'm just kidding. I wanted to say that. I almost slipped the other day when we had Jeff Eliason on with Lily of the Desert. I almost said, and how long have you been with Lily of the Fields? Almost, not quite. So I've never met her before. And I've never obviously haven't talked with her. Did exchange a couple of emails, but I'm looking at her background. My goodness, she's busy. Well, I like talking to people like that. That achieve, they get stuff done, but not just busy stuff. They're accomplished. I like that. All right, so you have somebody at the gym this morning said that they have a muscle strain.
They have a muscle strain. It's not a pull. I've seen her pulled muscle or torn muscle, like you said. I seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
So what she's got going on here, there's not necessarily any supplement to take. A muscle strain, she'll have swelling, bruising, redness. All of that is
right.
Part of inflammation sets in, and all the classic signs of inflammation: redness, swelling, and whatnot, pain, loss of function. These are classic signs. Redness, even at times, classic signs of inflammation, and inflammation is the way it heals. She can take a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, NSAIDs, over the counter. Whatever she wants, her choice, naproxen or ibuprofen to reduce the pain, if she's so inclined. Some people don't like to take those drugs. The amount of swelling or local bleeding into the muscle from the blood vessels can be managed by applying ice packs and maintaining the strained muscle in a stretched position. So if it's her bicep, to stretch it and ice it. Heat can be applied too when the swelling goes down. And when you're applying, but heat can increase swelling because it's drawing the blood to the site. The ice is constricting the flow, and it's trying to do that. All right, it's cooling things down. It's trying to moderate that inflammation process. And when you're icing it, 10 or 15 minutes on, and then 10 or 15 minutes off, and the arm extended. And then she can take an anti-steroidal drug. Now, she can take some supplements that are anti-inflammatory in nature, curcumin and whatnot, the ones that I talk about on the show. That might help. Compression. She can get like an elastic bandage, if it's her bicep, and wrap it and put the ice on it. The compression will help keep the swelling down, and it sort of blunts, for me, when I have that, it blunts the pain a little bit.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, what do you do? Because you're in the gym all the time.
That's what I do. She should do that, probably at the end of the day. Most people don't have time during the day. When you see her tomorrow at the gym, she can tune into this segment and see what I had to say about it. But this happens to a lot of people. I see it all the time. I've actually seen people in the gym where the muscle, the bicep, will pull off the bone. Mm-hmm. Right? It's very painful. And then you have to get that done surgically repaired. So in terms of supplements, anti-inflammatory supplements, the ones that I talk about on the show, the one Theracuramin, for example. But strategically, the NSAIDs are pretty good, just for short term, to reduce the pain, to reduce the signs and symptoms of inflammation. She young or older?
She's young. She's young.
Yeah, so she'll heal quickly. But in terms of, that's compression and ice. And then later, when it's a little more healed, some heat. Moist heat is good. So here's a number to call. If you have questions like that, we'll take them. Even though when I'm talking with Kathleen Brock today, if you want to ask about the moon and the stars, go ahead.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255, 877-897-8255, or Dr. Garko's personal email at drgarko@letstalknutrition.com. Or, like they do with me, just ask through Facebook.
That's it.
That's it.
We love talking to you. As you can tell, when people call, I'll talk to you. You know, you'll call and you may have a question, and I want to talk to you. I want to see what's on your mind. Many of you are so expert in the area of taking care of yourself and health, wellness, and well-being. You know a lot. And I love that. So I'm always eager to see what's on your mind, what you've learned, what you know, what you've experienced. I mentioned that Kathleen Brock, I've never met Kathleen, but as I said, I was just looking at her short bio, and
it's not a short bio. That's amazing.
Well, it is. I guess I have an abbreviated form, but my goodness, she's busy. Yeah, high achiever. Love that. And we'll talk with her. She's with Lily of the Desert, not Lily of the Fields. In case you don't know what Lily of the Fields is, Google that. They'll get you into some religious dimension. You are listening to Let's Talk Nutrition. We're coast to coast, including Hawaii. And day before yesterday, we made it onto Antarctica. So we've been on all 7 continents. Gotta like that.
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day, giving you immune, energy, and stress support, and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Figures Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce.
And welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing. My guest today is Kathleen Brock. Kathleen, just so I'm impressed, I'm going to talk to her in a second about all these things that she's done here. She's been in the natural products industry a long time. She's worked as a consultant. She's been on the retail side. She's been involved in marketing and whatnot, consulting with different companies, as I can see. She's owned 3 advertising agencies, managed numerous natural campaigns in TV, radio, and digital media for clients. Her bio says she served as a top executive with 3 dietary supplement companies and lead consultant for several others. I think, did she own a radio? Was it a radio station? No, publishing company, a newspaper. That's what it was. That's what I remember. My goodness, when does this woman sleep? Miss Brock, welcome. Kathleen, welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. It's great to have you on. Thanks for taking the time to come on to the show.
Well, I appreciate it, Dr. Garko. Thank you for having me.
How did you squeeze me in here?
Well, it's been scheduled for quite some time, but no, if you manage your time well, you can actually get a lot of things done in a day. So I seem to work better under pressure when I have a busy schedule.
That's the answer I would expect from you, and just the way you said it too. That's pretty good. I was the other day I had Jeff Eliason on the show.
Yes.
And I almost slipped, and I was going to say to him, I almost said to him, Jeff, and how long have you been with Lily of the Fields? And I didn't. And I mentioned it going into these last set of messages, and it turns out, Lilies of the Field was a movie made back in '63. You're probably too young to remember that, but Sidney Poitier was the actor. I think he got an Oscar for that, and it's amazing that the film got made. I think they gave it a total of about $500,000 to make the movie, and they had to do it in 14 days.
Oh wow!
And it's religion is involved in it because he's the character that wanders into this farm, and it's run by 5 nuns, and he helps them out, and they think God, the Almighty sent him because he helps them build stuff and takes care of repairs and this and that. It's a heartwarming film, but no, you're not with Lilies of the Field.
No, we're Lily of the Desert, or the brand more probably commonly known to the consumer as Lily Nutrition.
Yes. And yeah, the company talked with Jeff about this. It's made its reputation, of course, with aloe vera. But now it's moved into other dimensions of nutrition, so to speak. So I had discussed that with Jeff when he was on the show. Do you still own a newspaper?
I do. It's a very tiny one, however. It's actually the smallest official newspaper in the state of Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida? Are you in Florida?
Yes, I'm in Southwest Florida.
Where's that? Where?
So, Everglades City.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where that's where the cops were chasing. That's where the cops were chasing one of my producers one time. No, no, he's a police.
I don't have any information on that, Dr. Garbo.
He's an ex-police officer. He was probably chasing some drug smugglers through that part of the country. I didn't know you were in Florida.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Were you born and raised there?
I was born and raised in Hollywood, Florida.
Oh, okay.
And on the East Coast, which is, smack dab between Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
I'm familiar. I'm familiar.
Yeah, and came over to the southwest coast of Florida about 20 years ago.
Yeah, we have listeners in Hollywood, Florida. They've called into the show.
Absolutely. We're very nutrition conscious over there on the East Coast of Florida.
Yeah. How did you get into this business? How did you get into this world? Natural products industry. How did that happen for you?
Well, it was interesting. Actually, right out of college, my first major job interview, a job that I was interested in, wrote a publication that was about nutrition. I took the job, and they also had a division that was in supplements, and I just never left. I loved it. I've always been a bit of a renegade, and more of a outside of the box thinker, if you will, and natural products. And back in the day, natural products were kind of considered, or weren't considered something that a lot of people.
They weren't mainstream.
It was more of a fringe kind of thing. But I thought, it was right on, and so I stayed with the industry and just grew with it. And I'm really pleased with the way a lot of science has developed and products have developed. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. It has changed. The industry has changed. The whole notion of supplements. Of course, my show is an evidence-based show. I rely on Show Me the Data. That's a little harder show to do, but it's evidence-based nutrition, and the show generally is evidence-based overall. And the science of dietary supplementation has really progressed. And there was a time when you wouldn't even think about a company doing clinical trials for a particular product. Now, that's becoming more and more a part of the industry, which is good. Are you going to be going to Expo West, by the way?
I have a conflict. I'm always out there, always in quotations. I probably will get there for a day, not the entire conference, but I love that conference because of all the new ingredients and just meeting so many people, and it's just always really exciting to see what's next.
If you go there, are you going to stop by Lily of the Desert booth? Is that where you're going to be?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, if you do, we'll seek you out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm surprised we've never met because I've wandered around in the industry a little bit, but this is great. And you're an educator. Are you consulting with the company? Are you with the company? Are you an educator? How are you?
Yeah, so I'm consulting with the company. I actually met Jeff quite a while back, and was working with this particular product that we're going to talk about today. Okay. And which is very exciting, and it is evidence-based, and I like to stick there as well because, you really can't talk about a product that doesn't have evidence behind it. Sure. And coming from a world that markets these types of products, essentially, if there's no science, there's nothing we can talk about. So, and we can't, validate that it's going to do anything for a person. So.
Yeah, usually you end up talking nonsense.
Exactly.
877-897-8255. That's Kathleen Brock. She's my guest today. She'll be with us for the remainder of this first hour and into the second hour. A lot to talk about. I'm very fond of the company. Great reputation, make wonderful dietary supplement products.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Nutrition. Kathleen Brock is my guest today. She is with Lily Nutrition. Some of you know Lily of the Desert. Many of you use their aloe vera products, I am sure. Been around a long time. Venerable company. Big fan. And Kathleen, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
One of my producers was trying to. We're into social media around here. We're all over the place around the world and this and that. And he couldn't find you on Facebook, so we presume you're not there.
I am on Facebook.
You are?
Yes, sir.
We can't find you. We sent out the electronic hounds. We couldn't find you.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, my newspaper is, here's the name, The Mullet Wrapper, with an R.
Okay.
R-A-P-P-E-R, so you can find one of my accounts there. And then I have a personal account, and I keep a pretty low profile personally.
That's good. We respect that. We got that.
You could probably find me there under Kathy Brock.
Kathy
so,
Brock.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm out there.
All right, good. So let me. I take my time. I'm not in a rush. So if you're in a rush, you'll just have to pump the brakes a bit.
I'm on island time, Dr. Garko.
We're good. Thank you very much. Do you take supplements?
Of course I do.
And why?
Because I believe that they keep me healthier. I'm all about prevention.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just chase symptoms with products that mask. I've already got something, and now I have to, try and fix it. I believe in prevention.
Mm-hmm.
And supplements, the foods that we eat, the lifestyle that we live. I travel a lot. It often means that I can't control the food that I'm eating as much as I would like to, as I can when I'm home. So taking high-quality supplements is one way that I believe I can keep my body healthier, my mind sharp, and just feeling, good with more energy.
Mm-hmm. Is there a particular supplement or two that you take every day that you're very fond of? Do you take like a multiple?
I mean, I take several supplements every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk in general about some of those, but I'm really wanting to talk about Lily's, Lily's products.
Well, that's where I was headed. That's where I was headed. Have you tried their the multiple, the powder, the eco drink?
Of course.
Yeah,
absolutely.
If you're watching the show on your handheld device, TV or whatever, I'm holding up a bottle of eco drink that I filled this morning with Lily of the Desert aloe vera. I used the powder. I mixed it with the aloe vera. I passed it around here in the building. Jeff sent me a bunch of samples, and people love it, by the way.
Delicious.
Yeah, it is delicious.
Yeah.
This is a multiple. It's in a powdered form, and you can mix it with water. I used Lily of the Desert aloe vera, the inner fillet, and mix it with that. It's terrific. You wanted to talk about this product from Lily Nutrition called ENT?
ENT Care, yes, I do.
Yeah, okay.
It's an oral probiotic.
Oh, oral probiotic. All right, explain.
So everybody's familiar with digestive probiotics, or many people that take probiotics. There's many, many brands out there. And they live in the gut, populate the gut, and it's the good guys, for a simplistic definition, it's the good bacteria that helps fight off some of the bad bacteria. Some of our good gut health is critical for the absorption of vitamins, particularly B vitamins. Without a healthy gut, we can't really take in some of the nutrients from our food. So that's very, very important. And in the last probably 10 years, there's been a real uptick in information available and science available about digestive health. But there's other bacteria that lives in our body and even on our skin to keep us healthy, and specifically in the mouth. So ENT Care is a bacteria that lives in the mouth. Some people think it has a scary name. The actual bacteria is Streptococcus salivarius.
Mm.
And the word streptococcus scares people.
It does.
Obviously, because of the bad strep.
Yes, strep infection.
Yes, but this is the strep that has been shown to help fight it's the good strep, salivarius, versus pyogenes, which is the bad strep. And your oral cavity is oftentimes where some of the bad bacteria and some of the bad guys enter our body. And if anyone's raised young children, specifically kids that have gone into kindergarten, daycare, where they get on that cycle of continual upper respiratory issues, this is a type of a product that really may be able to help.
As it turns
and
out,
adults as well.
As it turns out, as we evolved over the millennia, we had company, and one of our companions along the way has been bacteria of different strains, good and bad. And of course, through natural selection, our digestive system, we have this microbiome, and it's a very complicated ecology down there. But we have bacteria all over the place with us, inside and outside, as you alluded to, on the skin. In fact, yesterday I was doing a show on nutraceuticals, the cosmeceutical with probiotics in it for the face, which is interesting, right?
Yes,
and
that help retain the moisture in the skin.
Absolutely, and fight inflammation and infection and whatnot. Turns out that there's this constant battle between pathogenic bacteria and these, for lack of a better way to say it, the good guys, these probiotics, like in the gut. The same thing in the mouth. And I've done more than a few shows over the years, over the almost 13 years now, making a correlation between oral health and overall health. And there is a direct correlation. A lot of people listening and watching the show today know a lot about probiotics, but may not know much about what you want to talk about. So I'm glad you want to explore this today. I guess you could say probiotics for the mouth, right?
Correct.
All right, we'll keep it simple. And we're going to get into that. Lily Nutrition has a product. The exact name is it, Kathleen, is called what?
It's Light Sticks is the name of the brand. STIX. And ENT Care.
And we'll flash some stuff up onto the screen because we have tens of thousands that watch the show every day, but we get about 30,000 hits globally. So we'll put that information up on the screen if you're watching, and we'll continue our conversation with Kathleen Brock. We're headed into the top of the hour, and your local affiliate with news, weather, and whatever they present during that period, and we'll come back with Kathleen. And we'll talk more about this product. Very interesting. Make no mistake about it. For example, poor oral hygiene, poor oral health, for example, is connected to cardiovascular disease. You might wonder, how could that be? We'll explain, and how this product might help serve you better overall. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Great to be with you. I was listening to the music, man. Glad you could tune in today. Kathleen Brock is my guest, carrying her over from the first hour. Interesting topic. I'll try to do a little bit more setup for it. I wrote a review of a book recently on the microbiome. We had talked about it on the show. That show's in the archives. You can find it. And the microbiome has been a theme now that has made its way into the conversation about health, wellness, and well-being. And usually the gut microbiome gets a lot of attention. And the microorganisms in a particular environment, like your gut, they really it's like an army, if you will. And they're there, and they serve us well and have through our evolution. Turns out that we have a oral microbiome as well. And this natural community of microbes that live in our mouth, in our oral cavity, if you will, not just your mouth, your throat, your back of your throat, your mouth, is the oral microbiome. And that microbiome supports and protects the mucous membranes in your mouth. The mucosa, the lining of your mouth, that mucosa is the same, is the lining also in your gut. When that lining gets damaged, it can be very problematic. Those of you who have had cancer and have had head and neck cancer, for example, and have had radiation or chemo, and the mucosa in your mouth and throat area have been destroyed, you know what that's about. The pain associated with that, as I have described it, is cosmically humbling. So there's a lot that we don't know. People walk around everyday life unaware of these very complicated systems that constitute us biologically, if you will, right? And you wouldn't think of saying, well, I need to take a probiotic for my mouth. Well, think again, because you can form a dysbiotic condition where you have this imbalance where the good bacteria are outnumbered and you have this microbial imbalance, and that wreaks havoc not only on the oral health but generally your immune system. Why? I alluded to this earlier. Because you're more prone to infection. For example, periodontal disease, you let that run rampant for a while, and you make yourself a candidate for cardiovascular disease and other chronic diseases. In the literature, they connect gum disease to cardiovascular disease, cancer. There's articles on lung and kidney disorders, Alzheimer's. It goes on and on. That's why many say that oral health is correlated reflection of overall health. If you're having a chronic inflammation system in your mouth, that inflammation becomes systemic. And out of your awareness, you're walking around accelerating disease processes in your body, creating them and accelerating them, and aging as well. So this whole idea of having oral probiotics is it may be novel to some because they're not aware, but it's a keen idea. Turns out that Lilly Nutrition has thought about this and has developed a product to address this issue. So that's what we're going to talk about. There's much more I could tell you, but I don't want to go on about it. The product from Lilly Nutrition is called Life Stix, LIFESTIX, ENT care, ear, nose, and throat care. It's for put that back up, please. Ages 2 and over. The over part, that would include you. Here's how to connect.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. Or follow us on Facebook or on LTN at Twitter at LTN Radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Please. And Kathleen Brock is my guest today. She's an educator, consultant with Lilly Nutrition. You know, many of you are familiar with Lilly, probably their aloe vera products, but they got a nutrition division that is pretty great. And I'm holding up, I alluded to I'm a big fan, man. I even dig the bottle they put in the box. It's pretty cool. And it's a multivitamin. Maybe we'll deal with that a little later. It tastes great. I've passed it out here in the building, and people just love it. Kathleen, welcome back to the show. I'm trying to do a little bit of setup for you, lay some foundation to talk about the product, but you can build on what I said, add to it, or correct me if you like.
Well, I think everything you said was spot on. The one thing I would add is one of the things that's changed dramatically, and I'm not saying it's a contributing factor, is the proliferation of the use of antibiotics for everything. Mm-hmm. And it's much different today than it was maybe 20 or 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. And today, when I was a little girl, if we had an ear infection, our moms would put a drop of alcohol, a cotton ball, and say, go to school. And antibiotics, which are critical, and absolutely, if you have an infection, you must take your antibiotics, and I'm not saying not to do that, of course. However, for certain conditions where antibiotics are ineffective, one of the things that they also do is interrupt our microbiome, our good bacteria in our gut, and broad-spectrum antibiotics will actually interrupt the good bacteria that's in our mouth. So for people that have been on a course of antibiotics, it's doubly critical for them to reintroduce the good guys so that the bad guys just can't keep proliferating. Mm-hmm. And I know you're to ask me the questions, but do you have any thoughts on how it could be a contributing factor with the widespread use of antibiotics, especially in the United States? I think we use 10 times more antibiotics than any other.
Yeah, I do have a thought or two about it. And one main thought is that it's become over, and doctors talk about it among themselves and are some very critical in that it's been so overprescribed. Bacteria and viruses have been around for millions of years. They occupied the planet long before we did, and we've used these antibiotics to the extent that they have some of these bacteria and viral strains have figured out how to become resistant to the antibiotics. Of course, antibiotics don't affect viruses, but some of these bacteria, and now we have these bacteria that are resistant to antibiotics. They have figured out how to combat the antibiotics. We've overprescribed them. Doctors know that. And people don't realize, I know many that I've talked to over the years, clients and whatnot, who were given antibiotics as a child because of various illnesses and all into their early adulthood. And through the rest of their life, their health has been sideways, and have a devil of a time getting back to proper balance, if you will, homeostasis. I agree with you. It's an excellent point that you make. This product from Lilly Nutrition is terrific. We come back, we'll have Kathleen explain, and we'll give you more ideas about it.
Have you?
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends, Virilo Max, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension, exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Is now we have the science, the data to support this. I'm not just making stuff up. Gum disease is associated with various disorders associated with your cardiovascular system, your heart, your lungs, your brain, your kidneys, your liver, goes on and on, all of which accelerate aging and shorten the lifespan. In my series on aging, I wasn't going to include this theme, but I think I am, now that I'm into it and talking about it with you today with Kathleen Brock, educator for Lilly Nutrition. And this is an important topic have not addressed it enough on the show, so I'm glad that she wanted to talk about it today. Kathleen, welcome back. The strain I was looking, the two strains, there have been two strains of good bacteria that can combat gum disease. One is L. plantarum L173, and the other one is the S. salivarius M18, the one that you mentioned, Streptococcus salivarius. That's the one that's in the Lilly Nutrition product, right?
Well, they have two. It's this one is actually K12. M18 is primarily used for gums and oral hygiene, if you will, and K12 is more used for the ENT type of support. And they're very, very similar, but it's just slight variations.
Good.
And what I wanted to make sure to mention, because we touched on it, if you'll allow me to, if we touched on the use of antibiotics, and there was a reason I wanted to bring that up, because the professor that discovered this, his name is he's a microbiologist from New Zealand, John Tagg, Tagg. And when he was a young boy, he had he had recurring bouts of bad strep virus, and it developed into rheumatic fever, and he was put on antibiotics for 10 years straight. And as a child, he vowed to himself, I'm going to find out why I was always sick and why the kids right next to me in school were not getting sick all the time. And I read he's a fascinating guy, brilliant, and he said he smelled like an antibiotic. The poor kid was on it, the guy was on it really his entire childhood. So when he graduated from high school, and because he was so ill, he studied. He wasn't out playing like the other kids. He was very, very focused on this. And his first line of business was to find out what was wrong with me. So he went into daycare centers, because this is where it started for him, that recurring cycle. He went into daycare centers, and he cultured the throats of those children whose parents said, no, my child is hardly ever sick, and then there were children that were constantly sick. And that's when he discovered this particular bacteria. Those children that were hardly ever sick had very healthy stores on the back of their tongue, and the kids that were continually ill did not, and that's what led to the discovery of, hey, wait a minute, there's something here. And the science on this, Stratum Nutrition is the company that actually procures this particular ingredient, K12, and the science is unbelievable. And it really shows that there's a direct correlation, like you're saying, to oral health and our general health. So this was where the origin of this product came from, the origin of the discovery of what Streptococcus salivarius actually is, and how it is critical to our well-being, health and wellness.
Yeah, and the story that you tell about Dr. Tagg, Professor Stragg, he's a microbiologist, by the way, from the University of Otago in New Zealand. I was alluding to, I said, children that get on these antibiotics early in their life, and then spend the rest of their life all sideways and upside down. He's a classic example of that. Good, he figured it out, though.
Yes.
This is great. This is good stuff. I don't know how many people listening and watching would even thought about taking such a product, but it's well worth considering to add it to your day-to-day dietary nutritional care, if you will, for prevention as well as for treatment. Absolutely. And it's from Lilly Nutrition, and we're going to put that up on the screen. It's called the Life Sticks, Lifestix, like, the river Styx, Stix, ENT care, age 2 and over. And that would be everybody listening and watching the show, for sure. I have not taken that product. They did send me some samples. I will start to include that and put it into my... And if you're a cancer patient, by the way, and you're going through radiation or chemo and you're having mucositis, you might want to this might be something you might want to consider. Talk with your oncologist about it before you do that. However, as I sit here and think about it, this is. I wonder how much it would contribute in terms of cold and flu season. If it would provide some sort of protection against cold and flu. What do you think about that, Kathleen? Well,
the studies show that it can reduce recurring upper respiratory infection anywhere from 40% to 90%. So if you think about that, if you have a child that's and I say children because children are basically ground zero for this, and bring it home. And for many, many people, I know a lot of young parents, for example, that hadn't been sick in ages, and as soon as their kids started school, here it goes. The entire household is just, ill continually. Absolutely. And so I believe that prevention is really the key. All right, we'll be right back. We'll pick up that thought.
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends: Virilomax, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension. Exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, or whatever you may be doing. We are coast to coast, including Hawaii. So the show does air at different times in different markets. You have to check your local listings. We stream, and we're up on, I'll let my producer tell you how we do that and how you can connect. And if you like to talk with Kathleen Brock, or if you have a question related or not, it's okay. Call. If you can take the time to listen and watch, I can take the time to talk to you.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255. You can follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition, on Instagram at Let's Talk Nutrition, and our Twitter page is also at LTN Radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Let's Talk Nutrition, where everything is closed captioned and archived by a playlist of who's on the show.
For those of you who are into the science of things, I went on PubMed and I did a quick search. 2017 article in Probiotics Antimicrobe Proteins Journal. Title of the piece, Influence of Oral Probiotic Streptococcus salivarius K12 on Ear and Oral Cavity Health in Humans. Systematic review. There you go. It's exactly what we're talking about today. It's a 2017 review of the literature. Now, there is, and I'll quote from the abstract, very little literature is available about the association, correlation between connection, interrelation, whatever, of S. salivarius K12 with and human ear and oral cavity. However, in this review, you walk away with what data exists already, with being pretty persuaded and convinced how important it is. And just as a little sidebar, there are some companies out there that I won't mention, who make oral mouth rinse for dry mouth and for just breath, and they use this particular Streptococcus salivarius K12 in the product for halitosis. I'm just saying. So, okay, we got the bases covered. Kathleen, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Brand new. This is a review. 2017 review, so it's relatively new. It's about a year old, not quite even a year. Right on the very topic that we're addressing today. Pretty good. How long has Lilly Nutrition had this product?
Lilly has been rolled this out last year in 2017, about in May. And it's in retail stores now.
Yeah, it is across the country. Now, the company is well known for its aloe vera, for sure. This was an interesting choice to make. Of all the products, there are many things you can decide to create for the company. It's interesting they went down this road. Do you have any insight into that?
Well, I do. I think when you look at the company, everything that they want to do is evidence-based. That's really important to them, and quality is very, very important to them. And it fit. They see a trend in where things are going. They're all about prevention as well. So it may seem a little bit off center from what they've done in their past, but it really isn't so much, because what their goal is to do is to put out a full line of products they have multiple different brands that they have out there, in the retail space and on .coms and so on and so forth. And everything is centered around prevention. And just like you stated early in the show, you can't overlook the importance of oral health. It's absolutely critical to our overall health and wellness. So it is actually a natural, it's a natural addition to their line, which is to promote naturally health and wellness for, everybody out there for all ages. And you don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to be, you just have to be you, and you want to be healthy. And that's really the bottom line. So it really wasn't a difficult thing to convince them. It was something I introduced to them because I was very familiar with it.
So you introduced this concept?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
I was already working with Lily and said, let's look at this because the science is so strong, and if you can help get people, when I'll talk about it, I'm not quite as eloquent as you. You're a PhD. I'm not. But the way I would say it in layman's terms is, there's those points in our life where we could take a left, which might be we're just taking antibiotics and we're doing all of these things, and we're, we think we're helping ourselves, or you could take a right, and you could go down that prevention path. And so if we can get just if we can help parents keep their kids healthiher and off that constant recurring cycle of antibiotics, which is trashing your gut microbiome, your oral microbiome, and then it has to keep rebuilding itself. And there's many disease states that actually onset after extended courses of antibiotics, and I'm sure you could comment on that.
Sure.
And again, I'm not saying antibiotics are bad. If you have a child and they're prescribed them, you have to continue taking them, of course. But if there's a way you can interrupt the need, that's really what we're looking to do.
You can go to LifeStix, LifeStix.com, and when you get there, for example, you'll see ear, nose, and throat health begins in the mouth. There's a photo of a beautiful young boy there with a beautiful smile. This is part of Lily Nutrition's branding of this product. Is the target audience children?
Well, the target audience is anybody that has, recurring infection in the upper, from the neck up, if you will.
Sure.
But we feel that, the ground zero of this is children. This is where it starts.
Yeah. And the science, it's interesting. I quickly went to PubMed, and I just did a very quick search. Boom! The first piece up was a review of the literature on the very thing that we're talking about. So the science is there, as Kathleen was suggesting, and that's interesting that the consultant that speaks highly of your insight, Kathleen. And that was a good recommendation for the company. That this concept, this product, this theme, if you will, dietary supplement theme, is very important. And I'm glad we talked about it today. We'll continue this conversation. We have one more segment, but as I've been thinking about it now in my series on aging that I'm writing, one of the things that I have not included, one theme here, is oral health. And how it's connected to the aging process. Boy, powerful.
As a family-owned company, are your joints feeling out of date and stiff? Is that old sports injury flaring up? Is your body aching from the daily wear and tear at work? Body Vigor's Joint Ready keeps you at the ready for any joint pain that gets out of line. Unfortunately, as we age, joint pain becomes more common. Body Vigor's Joint Ready can help provide relief so you can continue to go about your day. Our formula contains sulfated forms of glucosamine and chondroitin. Studies show that these sulfated forms are more effective than regular glucosamine bound to hydrochloride. Joint Ready promotes a healthy inflammatory response, facilitates cartilage synthesis, and provides additional antioxidants. Keep your joints at the ready with Body Vigor's Joint Ready, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Here's the LTN health question of the day. We do this every day around this time. Been doing it almost 13 years. If you have the right answer to the health question, you'll win a $25 Vitamin Discount Center supplement gift card. That's cool. All good. And it's usually once in a blue moon I'll ask a question about something I didn't talk about on the show. But most of the time I've talked about it and given you the answer. So, I'll make it very simple. We were talking with Kathleen Brock today, very nice conversation about oral health and this wonderful product from Lilly Nutrition called LifeSticks ENT Care. It's an oral probiotic. Fantastic. Ear, nose, and throat, upper respiratory. Great. And along the way, trying to, fill in the gaps and give you some frame of reference, if you will. I was talking about gum disease and how, for example, periodontal disease, and if it's chronic, can be so damaging, not only to your oral health, but to your overall health, and just gum disease generally now, all right? Here's the question. Which of the following is gum disease associated with? Which disorders of A, the brain, B, the heart, C, the lungs, D, the kidney, or E, all of the above? Gum disease associated with which of the following disorders? Of the brain, the heart, the lungs, the kidney, or all of the above? I'll give you a hint. Gum disease can be pretty pervasive in terms of its effects on the body. Here's a number to call.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255. That's 877-897-8255.
Kathleen, welcome back. In talking with you today, and what's rolling around in the back of my head is it really didn't occur to me to include this in the narrative on aging and how to age more successfully, and that would be to include the theme of oral health and how maintaining. I go to the dentist 4 times a year just for cleaning, 4 times. To go in and get my teeth cleaned and whatnot. That's how fixated I am about that. And now as I think about it, I think it's so really underrated. I haven't talked about it enough on the show, and I'm so glad that you wanted to talk about it, and I'm very glad that, and I'm sure Lilly Nutrition's even happier than I am, that you recommended that they develop this product, the LifeSticks ENT Care, and that you introduced the idea to them. Now, I'm just curious. Maybe you said it, but maybe I didn't quite pick it up. I mean, you were onto this because of the antibiotic overuse. Is that how you got into this in the first place, to make that recommendation?
No, I've actually been focused on probiotics for about the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. I felt that it was interesting. About a decade ago, a colleague introduced me to them. Mm-hmm. And this was well before, I'm not going to even say they're mainstream, but I think most people understand that they're good for you, today.
Sure.
And so I started doing some research and reading clinical studies, and just, anytime I would go to a show like Expo West, focus in on the companies that were putting out different types of probiotics. So it's a field that I've been reading about quite a bit because I'm in dietary supplements, and I believe in preventative, and I'm a consultant. It's really my job to say, hey, you may want to look at products in this category as something, you would include in your, in your line for line extension or things like that. And I have been focused on probiotics, and I was really focused on digestive, and because of that, I would have different companies visit me and talk to me about the different strains that they had, and why this one is more efficacious than that one, and so on and so forth. And I had the privilege of meeting with Stratum over 3 years ago. And that's when I was introduced to their line of, M18 and K12, and it blew me away. Yeah. And it was then, and I started becoming really fixated on it as well. And I'm really glad you're saying you're going to include that in your anti-aging
series,
because it's critical.
It is. It is. Oral health, just generally, so underrated. And I'm sort of guilty of that too. I do need to, as I think about it and talk about it with you today, and once I get something in my head, boy, it's once I'm on to something.
Could it be because the dentistry is so disconnected from our GP that it's not really thought of?
Part of it is fear. People don't want to talk about going to the dentist, anything with oral health and going to the dentist. The fear of going to the dentist, that's part of it. And just generally, people don't make the connection. They would never connect heart disease to periodontal disease. I mean, How could that be? What do my teeth have to do with my heart? They would say, right? That's how the layperson thinks about it. And that's because they're not thinking systemically. It's education. That's just generally a lack of education, ignorance, not knowing. And that's why on the show, the agenda is to educate, empower, and entertain. That's been in my mind since we started this show. Educate, empower, and entertain. As I've often, and I tell the audience what's behind the curtain, backstage. I'm not here to inform anybody. I'm here to persuade. I'm here to help people make better choices, and to the information gets dispensed. But like you contributed to that narrative today, trying to make an argument. It's not just about that product; it's about their health, their oral health, their overall health, and this product is a strategy to contribute to that. So you did a great job. We appreciate your effort on the show and all that you did. It was nice to meet you. I hope I get a chance to meet you in person. If you're at Expo West, we'll find you. And in the meanwhile, take care of yourself down there in the Everglades.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for what you do. It's very helpful to everybody out there, including myself. Well,
it's my pleasure. It's a privilege. And Lorraine, you won. Sorry I didn't get to you. You're a winner. Your health is your wealth.
Have you discovered that your post-activity electrolyte drink